Alright, today we're going to learn about circles. We're going to be talking about arc length and sector. So let's look at what those words even mean to start. Alright, the arc length is the section of the circumference. So you're looking at just a certain part of the outside, out of the perimeter. You're just taking a section of it, okay? We're not going to use the whole thing, we're just going to take a section of it. Okay, and a sector is a section of the area. So it ends up looking like a pie slice or part of a Pac-Man that we had been talking about. Remember, a sector. So this time we're going to have a different formula for sector than when we had with the cone. So those are the two things you're going to be working on today. Make sure you read carefully. Is it asking you for the arc length, where it's asking you for part of the circumference, or is it asking you for the sector, part of the area? Okay, we can find both of these formulas on our formula sheet. So on the back, here's our formula sheet. We look here, arc length is labeled by S, and that formula is happening right here, where C stands for circumference. Okay, just because it's part of the circumference, right? And then the area of the sector, right here, we're going to be using this formula where this A stands for the area of the whole circle. Okay. These formulas down here, you'll notice they have radians. We don't know what radians are, so we're not going to be using them. Okay. The M in the formula stands for the measure of the degree, depending how big our angle is. Okay. And then we all know R is for radius. So let's look at our first one. First, I want us to find the area of the sector of the circle. So we're looking at finding this area. Okay? If we refer back, our formula for area of a sector is A equals M over 360 times the area of the whole circle. Okay? M is talking about the measure of the angle. So I need to know how big is this angle. I notice that the other side, this side over here, is 200, and we know that the whole circle needs to add up to 360, so that leaves this to be 160, making sure all the degrees add up to 160. The whole circle needs to add up to 360. So since this is 200, that leaves us at 160. So that comes over here. We had our 160 for how big the angle is inside the sector over 360. Now we need to multiply that by the area of the circle. And the formula for area of the circle is pi r squared. Okay, so I have 160 over 360 times 3.14. And r stands for the radius. How long is the radius? 21 squared. Okay, at this point you're able to just type that whole thing into your calculator. And you should come up with the answer. 615.44. And remember, this is in centimeters, and we're talking about area, so it's centimeters squared. So that is the area of the sector, or the section of the circle. Okay. Next, we're going to find the arc length. Again, arc is part of the circle, part of the circumference, and it wants us to find the minor arc. Minor meaning small. So it wants us to find the small arc. So that would be this guy. Okay, and green is your minor arc. Over here, we'll do it in black. Black is your major arc. It's bigger, it's major. Minor means small, so we're using this. We're looking for this green minor arc. Remembering that our formula for arc was the measure over 360 times C, where C stood for the circumference, so I'm just going to change that to the circumference formula. Okay, and now I can plug in my numbers. The measure of the angle of the minor arc, the angle is always looking back to the center, 160 degrees times 2 times 3.14 times the radius of 21 again. Type that whole thing into your calculator. And you should be getting an arc length of 50.61. and it's just talking about length, how long something is, so it's just a normal measure of centimeters. Okay, so that's just an introduction to finding the area of the circle and the arc length. Let's look at another one. Here's our second circle. Same thing, I want to find the area and I want to find the arc length. This time you'll notice though that our degree is out here on the outside. Know that the outside degree is the same as your inside degree. So this is also 94 in case you are concerned. Okay, so let's start with area of the sector. I'm going to do that in red. Again, that means we're talking about this section of area in here, the slice of the pie or the slice of the pizza. Formula for area is the measure over 360 times the area of the circle. So that would be the measure over 360 times the formula for area of the circle, which is pi r squared. In this case, our measure is 94 over 360 times pi times, r, which is 2.6, okay, squared. This formula comes from, sector has to do with area, right? So that's why area is in the formula. We have this section of the circle, and we want to know how much it is. We don't want to know how much the whole circle is. We want to know how much the section of the circle is. So that's where this formula comes from. You should be able to just type this into your calculator now. Changing pi to 3.14. And you should get 5.54. And our label is inches squared because we're finding area. Okay? On this side, we want to find the arc length. And this time we want to find the major. So that means we need to find the big one. Okay? The big arc ends up being out here. Our formula for arc length is the measure over 360 times the circumference. Change that C to the formula for circumference. Oh, I'm struggling here, sorry. 2 pi r. Okay, the measure. I need to know how big this angle is. Okay, again, remembering that the whole circle adds up to 360. So I do 360 minus 94 to give me this being 266 degrees. Okay, that's the measure of my major arc, my big arc. Times 2 times 3.14 times r, which is 2.6. Okay, type that all in your calculator. And you get an answer of 12.06. And we're just measuring the length of something, so your label is inches. Okay, there's two examples on how to find the area and the arc of something. I want you to try this next one on your own. When you have the answer to both of them, raise your hand and the substitute will come check, and then you can receive your worksheet. Good luck, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good day.